Welcome to a month of a sugar detox. We are soon to move into the season of sugar, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. It starts in October with Halloween, and it just keeps going all the way through New Year's. And while this is August, as I'm recording this, most of us know that sugar is with us in some form all the time. In fact, on the daily, it's almost impossible to get away from it. But is it possible? Is it probable to create a sugar shakedown, to ditch the yo-yo diet culture and reroute your health in the right direction? I say yes, and I hope you say yes too. So let's do it. I invite you to subscribe and watch the upcoming video and podcast series. And make sure you grab my recipes and worksheet to walk you through a personal breakthrough and a process to begin to break up with sugar. Go to peakperformancehabits.com/sugar shakedown. Now, is your answer yes to one or more of these statements? You've tried kicking sugar to the curb in the past, but you simply fell back into those old habits that you've had for years without even really thinking about it. We decide we're going to do something, we kind of commit to it, we talk about it, we put it on the calendar, but then one thing leads to another. We go out to lunch, dinner, happy hour, it's somebody's birthday, and pretty soon we're back in the sugar crutch and that sugar addiction. Now, possibly you're concerned about a recent prediabetes or full-blown type 2 diabetes diagnosis, or maybe you're just simply concerned about the future of your health overall. You know you've got to make changes, but how? Where do you start? What do you do first? And what is the truth about sugar and packaging and marketing and what's truly good for your health? Now, as I always like to say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I am a certified integrative nutrition coach, and I'm a personal body hacker. And I have used so much of this on my entire life from the time I hit adulthood and even earlier, because my mom got me started this way. I raised 2 kids, built a successful family, and I'm happy to say that all 4 of my family members, including myself, are metabolically fit. So if you want to free yourself from the shackles of this common sugar addiction, but you don't know where to start and you don't have the tools for success, let's get started here. You may be stuck in a loop that you can't seem to get out of with what I call the sugar shackles. I know, I get it. It's so hard because the food that sugar hides in tastes so good, and it gives us such a good feeling, right? That comfort. Food marketing and misleading labeling is a crime. We binge on ice cream, chips, sugary sweets, but we never binge on things like broccoli or kale or even avocados. And why is this? So we're going to cover all that this month. We're going to talk about why sugar is so addictive and why that sugar addiction that you're feeling is not your fault, and why willpower alone is never going to resolve the issue. And here's a key. That should make you happy because it releases you from feeling like there's something wrong with you. We'll also cover why artificial sweeteners are truly a toxic lie. And then I'm going to cover some of the healthier sugar alternatives like monk fruit, coconut sugar, stevia, honey, agave syrup, pure maple syrup, and more. And we'll talk about those from a very truthful perspective because the reality of it is less is always better, even in these circumstances. Once you have a better understanding of the facts around what's going on with sugar, here's the good news. I'm going to give you some solid slight edge hacks to begin to make changes. I always say a confused mind says no, so we're going to start slowly and build on some habits that get you in the right mindset and the right motivations to keep moving forward. So we do that in a way that doesn't seem overwhelming and doesn't seem overly restrictive. Those healthy alternatives. You've probably heard this before, but sugar can best be described as the crack or meth of the food industry. It's everywhere. It's hidden in the food and beverages that so many of us consume. We go to the grocery store and 90% of what's in there has added sugars and chemicals that are toxic to your health. It's a legal, lethal drug, a silent killer. This global problem, if it hasn't already, will soon affect nearly everyone on the planet. Personally, whether it's you yourself or a family member and loved one. We live in a sugar economy. We reward children with it when they behave or they sit still in school or they get a good grade or for a job well done. And it's often, as I mentioned, schools, it's handed out by teachers as a reward. And we as adults often reward ourselves with sugar after a stressful day. We use it to celebrate a birthday, a holiday, a special success, or special occasion. And as I mentioned, the upcoming fall season with Halloween, we practically dedicate an entire holiday to it. The average American consumes 152 pounds of sugar and 146 pounds of flour per year. Sugars like dopamine. We all like the pleasure. Sugar stimulates the brain's pleasure or reward center, delivering those hits of dopamine just like other addictive drugs. And it feels good and it keeps us reaching for one more cookie. When a certain behavior causes an excess release of dopamine, you feel that pleasurable high experience. And you probably know what I'm talking about. And you're inclined to want to repeat that. And so repeat it we do. Again, just as I mentioned, we reach for another handful of Jelly Bellies or another cookie or donut. This is essentially what an addiction is, a repeated behavior for feeling good and the gain that goes along with that. And sometimes, as I mentioned with comfort food, it's about numbing out with something. Now, PET scans and brain imaging often show that high sugar and high fat foods affect the brain just like heroin, morphine, or opium. Michael Pollan, author of the book In Defense of Food, states, "We have become biologically addicted." So again, grab the recipe and guide, get my worksheet to walk you through this process to begin to break up with sugar. Go to peakperformancehabits.com/sugar shakedown and watch this next video on why it's so hard to stop binging on these foods.